The Gambler's Ruin Project, Ekstraklasa League Round 3 Special. The Gambler's Ruin Project, where the odds get cracked. The Gambler's Ruin Project's predictions are powered by SmartBet AI. Episode disclaimer: gambling equals risk. SmartBet AI fuels our insights, but variance wins over certainty. Stick to the 2% bankroll rule, bet small, bet responsibly.
We talk about SmartBet AI every week, but let's unpack what's under the hood. This isn't just a bunch of spreadsheets shouting numbers.
It's 18 months of machine learning, real-world testing, and some pretty serious academic backbone. At its core, it's an ensemble system. Multiple models trained on everything from weather to injuries to XG. We're talking random forests, XGBoost, MLP Neural Nets, and LightGBM, all rolled into one final decision engine. That's called stacked learning. And yeah, we borrowed that from the labs.
We're not just saying that. A 2019 study by Isaacson showed that ensemble models consistently beat individual classifiers in match outcome prediction. That's why we don't let one model drive. We let four argue, then make a decision. And neural nets. We use an MLP trained on league-specific data. That's inspired by a 2021 paper out of Turkey, INTS and TINMAS, where neural networks beat out older methods like logistic regression and SVMs, especially when it came to reading late-season form. Because every SmartBet model is trained on seasonal, match-level, player, and team stats, from 2018 all the way to the present. We've got over 7 years of league behavior, injury patterns, XG evolution, and tactical shifts feeding the models.
Then there's the injury factor. We adjust expected goals based on player availability, something Pettersson's team showed matters a lot, especially if a top striker or centre-back is out. If Luka Zahovic misses a match, the models shift, so does your bankroll. We also use Poisson logic, but not the static kind. We run bootstrapped simulations to get confidence intervals. You don't just see a prediction like 1.77 goals, you see the spread, 0 to 5. That's your chaos index, and chaos matters.
Remember that study from Universitat Jome 1? They showed weather conditions actually alter outcome probabilities. So yes, our models integrate forecast data. Rain in Szczecin, wind in Warsaw, it's all in there. We even account for team form using ELO ratings updated after every match. It's dynamic, flexible, real-time. Your betting model shouldn't treat last September's 3-0 win the same as last week's 0-0 draw without half your midfield. And we deal with class imbalance using SMOTE. That means underdogs don't get ignored by the math. We give teams like Radomiak or Motor Lublin a real statistical voice, even when the sportsbooks don't. So what is SmartBet AI? It's not just a forecast.
It's a data engine, a tactical lens, and a little whisper in your ear before you click place bet. And it's built on more than instinct. It's built on research, verification, and a refusal to trust anything we can't test. Because football is unpredictable. But your decisions? They don't have to be. All right, folks. Coffee in one hand, model printouts in the other. Welcome to our Ekstraklasa League Round 3 special. We're starting in Krakow this morning, where the only thing thicker than the cloud cover is the tactical caution both teams will bring. MKS Cracovia at home against KS Lechia Gdańsk.
70 degrees, light rain in the air, humidity pushing 80%. This isn't exactly tiki-taka weather, more like slippery boots, early miscontrols, and the occasional keeper spill.
And speaking of keepers, Lechia will be without Bogdan Sanavski. Meniscus irritation out, which means we get the backup. Always a fun variable in wet weather.
Cracovia, fully fit, no absences, and the models have noticed. ELO says 1,545.89 for Cracovia against 1,515.07 for Lechia. That's a respectable home edge before we even touch the Poisson.
Poisson model gives Cracovia 1.73 goals, Lechia 0.85. Bootstrapped, it's basically the same. 1.80 versus 0.83, with most simulations landing in the low-scoring range. RF, XGBoost, and LightGBM all point to a home win. The only rebel here is the MLP Neural Net, and it's waving an away flag for some reason.
Neural nets occasionally have moods, but the stacked ensemble, our referee in all model disputes, says home win. And the Monte Carlo, 10,000 runs, Cracovia winning in most of them. Top scorelines, 1-0 and 2-0.
Tactically, Cracovia like to squeeze you narrow at home, and in these conditions, that's a nightmare to break through. Lechia's going to sit in a low block, pray for set pieces, and hope the backup keeper doesn't get called into action too often.
Which is optimistic, given Cracovia's shot volume at home. Even if it's not pretty, the chances will come.
This is one of those Polish morning kickoffs where you can bet the home side and still have time for a pierogi brunch.
Speaking of brunch, let's talk betting menu. The data's clear. Cracovia win is the main course. Under 2.5 goals is your side dish. And for dessert, maybe sprinkle some 1-0 and 2-0 correct score.
And stick to the 2% bankroll rule, because even when the models line up like this, variance doesn't check the weather report.
Unless you're betting on puddles, nothing's guaranteed.
Before we head to Lublin for our second match, let's take a quick detour back in time to one of my favorite Cracovia memories. And yes, it involves weather and chaos.
Of course it does. You love a good weather story. This one's a blizzard game, right?
Oh, it was a full-on snowstorm. December 2012, Marshal Pilsudski Stadium, Cracovia hosting Widzew Lodz. Forecast said light flurries. Reality said, welcome to Siberia.
Kickoff looked fine. 10 minutes in, you could barely see the penalty spot from midfield. By the 30th minute, you couldn't tell which team was which unless you were staring at the socks.
And the pitch? Gone. Just white. The grounds crew was out there with shovels and leaf blowers every 5 minutes, trying to uncover the lines. It looked like a curling tournament.
Players were sliding 10 yards on tackles. The ball rolled about half its normal distance. At one point, Cracovia's keeper just stood still because he lost track of the ball in the snow and figured, if I can't see it, maybe it's not coming.
And my favorite part, the ref didn't call it off. He just decided, yeah, this is fine.
Final score? 0-0. Shocker. The only real action was watching defenders try to figure out if they were clearing the ball or a snowdrift.
To this day, Cracovia fans call it Biały Dzień, the White Day. No goals, no visibility, just 90 minutes of frozen madness. And somehow it's still one of the most beloved matches in their modern history.
It's also the only time the Poisson model would have predicted negative goals.
So yeah, whether it's snowstorms in December or drizzle in August, Cracovia have a knack for playing in the elements. Which brings us right back to this morning's match against Lechia. Rain or shine, they'll make it theirs. Alright, from snowy Krakow flashbacks we head east to Lublin, where the forecast says mostly cloudy, humidity in the 70s, and a match that might just be Poland's official coin flip.
This one's fascinating. Motor Lublin hosting defending champions Jagiellonia Białystok. No injuries for either side, no excuses. Just two teams that match up almost perfectly on paper.
And when I say perfectly matched, I mean the Poisson has them basically even. Lublin 1.18 expected goals, Jagiellonia 1.14. Bootstrapped Poisson barely budges that, 1.17 to 1.09. That's not a prediction, that's a shrug.
And yet, here's the twist. Every machine learning model we've run leans slightly toward Motor Lublin. Random Forest, XGBoost, LightGBM, MLP, all pointing home. Not emphatic, but consistent.
Stacked Ensemble says home win too, but with a lot of draw risk. And the Monte Carlo simulations, they love 1-1. Then 2-1 Lublin, which tells me this is one of those games where the first goal decides everything.
Yep, if Jagiellonia score first, they can smother this match. If Lublin do, the place will go full carnival mode. And trust me, Arena Lublin gets loud. It's a small ground with a big echo.
Tactically, Jagiellonia will try to force this into a mid-block grind, keep Lublin from quick switches and wait for mistakes. Lublin's best weapon is patience. Slow possession, test the flanks, wear down the back line.
Which is also a recipe for a boring first half and all the chaos after 60 minutes.
That's when the coffee becomes vodka.
Betting-wise, our advice is simple. Main lean, Motor Lublin, draw no bet, sprinkle, correct score 1-1. Caution, don't get greedy with overs. Models are stuck around 2 total goals.
And remember, even with the model lean, this is still basically a high-stakes coin flip. So treat it like one. Keep your stakes small.
Or literally flip a coin at kickoff and live with the result. It'll save you the stress.
2 matches, 2 different stories, but both with weather quirks, model quirks, and just enough narrative to make you sweat.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Gambler's Ruin Project. Remember, our content is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and all predictions are AI generated. Gambling can be addictive, so please bet responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help with gambling addiction, there are resources that can provide support. In North America, contact the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700, available 24/7 for confidential help. In the UK, reach out to BeGambleAware at 08088 and 2133, or visit begambleaware.org for more information and support. Bet smart, bet safe, and as always, remember to keep things fun and balanced. We'll see you next week for more insights. Thanks again for joining us. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more AI-driven predictions and pro betting tips every week. Disclaimer: this content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The predictions and insights provided by the Gambler's Ruin Project, powered by SmartBet AI technology, are generated using statistical models and historical data. These predictions do not guarantee outcomes and should not be considered financial or betting advice. Always gamble responsibly, and only wager what you can afford to lose. If you or someone you know is struggling with gambling addiction, seek help from professional support services. Legal notice: this content does not constitute an offer to participate in gambling. The Gambler's Ruin Project does not operate as a bookmaker or betting service and does not encourage gambling. All users are responsible for complying with local laws and regulations regarding sports betting and gambling-related content in their respective jurisdictions. The Gambler's Ruin Project, where the odds get cracked.